Women don't just wake up one morning and decide to betray the man they promised to love forever. It never begins with lust or hates. It starts quietly, almost like a whisper in the back of her mind that she tries to ignore. A strange craving she can't explain yet. Something deep inside her begins to pull toward anything that makes her feel alive again, even if it leads straight into chaos. Every woman carries a switch buried somewhere in her biology. It isn't designed for loyalty, it's designed for survival. When that switch flips, logic fades into the background. That's the part no one wants to admit. The truth about cheating isn't poetic, it's chemical. It's not a love story, it's a war inside her own mind. At first it looks harmless, a glance that lingers a little too long, a compliment that hits just right. She isn't planning to cheat, she's just trying to feel something again. Because over time, the warmth that used to live in her heart turned into routine. The man who once made her pulse race now just makes her coffee. The touch that once felt electric has become predictable, practiced. And for a brain starving for dopamine, predictability feels like a slow death. That's what most men never notice coming. They think love protects them, that once they've earned loyalty, it stays. But her subconscious doesn't understand loyalty the way you do. To her brain, loyalty is just comfort, and comfort doesn't give her the chemical high she once felt. The part of her those bonds with you is oxytocin, the attachment hormone. But the part that thrills her, the one that craves excitement, is dopamine. One builds families, the other destroys them. And she lives in a world that feeds dopamine nonstop. Social media, validation, fantasy. Every post, every like, every comment whispers the same message. You could have more. And when the man beside her stops making her feel like she's still rare, that whisper grows louder until it sounds like rescue. I've seen it happen too many times. The woman isn't evil. She's addicted. To feeling wanted, to being new, to seeing herself reflected as desirable again. She doesn't cheat for sex. She cheats for identity. The affair becomes a mirror showing her the version of herself she lost somewhere along the way. The vibrant, radiant version who used to turn heads and light up rooms. Men call it betrayal. Biology calls it relapse. She's chasing the high of her own youth, the rush of untested love, of unpredictability. That's why it's so dangerous. Because once she feels it again, she'll burn everything to keep it. She'll justify, minimize, rewrite reality. We're just friends. He makes me feel alive. I deserve happiness. These are the mantras her mind creates to protect the addiction. By the time you sense something's off, she's already halfway gone. The texts, the laughs, the new energy. It's all part of the drift. And she doesn't even see it as betrayal yet. To her, it feels like waking up. It always starts so quietly you can barely notice. That's the scariest part. The first step toward infidelity doesn't look like infidelity at all. It looks like confidence returning to her eyes, like new perfume, new clothes, laughter that hasn't been there in years. She'll say she's just taking better care of herself, that she's feeling good again. But she's not getting that glow from you. She's getting it from being noticed. A woman starving for validation will mistake attention for affection every time. She'll confuse curiosity with chemistry, kindness with attraction. The man himself almost doesn't matter. It could be the coworker who compliments her ideas, the barista who remembers her order, or the trainer who tells her she's making progress. It's not about him. It's about the mirror he holds up. One that reflects the version of herself she thought time had taken away. Inside, her brain starts comparing realities. You represent safety, predictability, home. The other man represents freedom, excitement, the unknown. You are her foundation, he is her escape. When she starts to feel invisible, the chemical balance tips. She doesn't cheat because she's miserable. She cheats because she's bored. Because boredom, to her brain, feels like suffocation. And once she gets a taste of excitement from a new source, it's almost impossible to stop craving it. This is where justification begins. She starts rewriting your story together in her head. Little annoyances become signs of neglect. Your quiet becomes emotional distance. Your steady routine becomes her prison. She tells herself she deserves more, not because you changed, but because her chemistry did. You'll see the changes but not understand them. She becomes distant, distracted, yet somehow happier. You'll think it's work stress or mood swings, but she's entering the attention phase. Every glance, every message, every subtle flirt trigger firework in her brain. She thinks she's just having harmless fun, that she's in control, but she isn't. Every message deepens the hook. Every small secret builds a wall between you. The more forbidden it feels, the stronger it gets. You'll notice the distance before she admits it. Fewer touches, shorter conversations, little pauses that feel too long. She'll still say, "I love you," and part of her even means it. But love and loyalty don't come from the same place. The part of her brain that feels guilt is whispering. The part craving excitement is screaming. She doesn't even realize what's happening inside her. She's not choosing this consciously. It's a chemical hijacking disguised as fate. To her, it feels magical. To you, it looks like loss. And when you ask her what's wrong, she won't tell you the truth. She'll say, "I just feel disconnected." She'll say, "I need to find myself." But what she is really looking for is that old version of herself, the one who felt alive and desired and free. She thinks another man might hold the key. From here, everything looks the same on the surface. Same house, same smiles, same words like "love you" thrown across the kitchen. But in her mind, she's already building another life. She's crossed a line you can't see yet. In her world, she's the main character of a story you done to even know you re-in. She tells herself she's still a good person, still loyal in all the ways that matter. She hasn't done anything wrong. That's the dangerous illusion. Every cheater starts there, by changing what wrong means. She tells herself everyone needs friends, that he just understands her better, that she's venting. But what she's really doing is moving her emotional energy from you to him. Every complaint about you becomes a bond with him. Every laugh shared in private is another brick in the wall between you and her. The irony is, she believes this new connection is her being honest with herself, that she's finally being real. She feels seen again, and that feeling is intoxicating. She's not falling for the man, she's falling for the version of herself that appears when she's around him. The younger, freer, bolder version. Her guilt still whispers, but she's learning how to ignore it. She starts defending him in her mind. "He's just nice. You're overreacting. I can't help it if people like talking to me." These are the defense mechanisms of someone already hooked. She's not lying to you yet. She's lying to herself first. The more she defends the connection, the deeper it goes. Because now her self-image depends on pretending it's innocent. And that's the trap. Once a woman starts protecting her temptation, she's already surrendered to it. She begins living two lives. In one, she's your partner, keeping up appearances, handling daily life. In the other, she's the woman she imagines herself to be. Vibrant, mysterious, wanted. Every notification on her phone becomes a rush. Every message is a hit of adrenaline. She starts craving them like air. The affair doesn't have to be physical yet. Emotionally, she's already left. And she'll swear she hasn't because in her mind, she's just feeling something again. That's how women justify it. Not through denial of action, but through the illusion of emotion. To her, it's not cheating if it feels real. She tells herself it's connection, not betrayal. Meaning turns the lie into a kind of truth for her. Meanwhile, you're home, confused by the small things. She laughs at her phone but goes quiet when you ask. She's warmer some days, distant on others. She swears she's fine, but you can feel the absence even when she's sitting next to you. And when you press her, she gets defensive. Not because she's angry at you, but because you're threatening the one thing keeping her dopamine alive. Every shared joke, every message, every stolen glance fuels her fantasy and deepens her denial. By the time she realizes what's at stake, she's too deep to stop. Because now, the world she's building with him feels brighter than the one she shares with you. Every conversation with you feels heavy compared to the lightness of him. She doesn't even know it yet, but her mind has already decided. Her heart just hasn't caught up. There's a moment when every secret becomes too sweet to let go and too heavy to carry. That's when the line gets crossed. It's not always dramatic. No movie scene, no dramatic music. Sometimes it's a quiet night, a lingering touch, a look that stays a second too long. And when that line finally blurs into something real, she feels two things at once: terror and relief. Terror, because she knows she's become what she never thought she'd be. Relief, because she finally feels alive again. In that moment, her brain floods with chemicals it hasn't felt in years. Dopamine, adrenaline, oxytocin, all of it. It drowns logic, guilt, everything. For that brief instant, she's not a wife, not a mother, not a partner. She's the main character in her own story. And that's what makes it deadly. Her body doesn't know the difference between love and danger. The forbidden becomes fuel. The secrecy becomes the drug. And when you notice her drifting away, when you ask questions, she'll respond with anger, not guilt. Because now you're not her partner, you're the threat to her escape. Every suspicion you voice feels like control to her. Every attempt to reconnect feels like interference. You'll hear things like, "You're paranoid," or "You don't trust me anymore." But those aren't defenses, they're withdrawals. You're standing between her and her next hit. Her moods swing like tides. One day, she's sweet, apologetic, trying to act normal. The next, she's cold and distant. That's withdrawal when the chemical high fades, and she's left trapped between guilt and craving. She might sit across from you at dinner, smiling mechanically, but her mind's replaying the last message she got from him. The present moment feels unbearable compared to the secret one she's chasing. And here's the harsh truth. She's not comparing you to another man. She's comparing you to the version of herself she becomes when she's with him. The lighter, freer, desired version. He isn't the addiction. Even she starts to notice the double life she's living. The guilt creeps in late at night when the house is quiet, when you're asleep beside her and she's staring at the ceiling pretending to dream. She wants to stop, but she can't. So, she buries the guilt under new lies. It just happened. It's not serious. No one's getting hurt. Those lies aren't for you. They're for her. Because admitting the truth would mean facing the fact that she became everything she used to judge. But guilt always leaves fingerprints. You can see it in her eyes, that flicker between shame and exhaustion. Her laughter sounds lighter, but it's forced. Her patience runs thin over small things. She moves through the days like she's wearing a mask that's starting to crack. She's living a quiet war inside her skull. One side screaming with adrenaline, the other whispering with regret. When she's with him, she's anxious. When she's with you, she's empty. No matter where she goes, she's split in two. The affair that once felt thrilling begins to rot from the inside. The lies multiply, and each one weighs more than the last. Every deleted message, every excuse rehearsed in the mirror, it starts to eat her alive. She wanted freedom, but now she's a prisoner of her own secret. The dopamine that once felt divine now poisons her. The highs get shorter, the crashes last longer. The thrill fades into paranoia. Every buzz of her phone makes her chest tighten. Every quiet moment at dinner feels like judgment. She can't breathe in peace anymore because peace requires honesty, and honesty would blow it all apart. And slowly, she starts to resent both men. She resents you because you remind her of what she's done. She resents him because the fantasy is falling apart. He doesn't feel like magic anymore. He feels like a mirror reflecting the parts of herself she can't stand. The same woman who once whispered, "I deserve to be happy," now can't even look at her own reflection without flinching. That's when the collapse begins. Small mistakes slip through. She leaves her phone face up, forgets to delete a text, changes her tone when she lies. A woman can fake affection, but she can't fake peace, and you feel it before you ever find proof. It's that twist in your gut, that instinct that something's off. You can't explain it, but your body knows. And when the truth finally comes out, through a message you weren't meant to see or a story that doesn't add up, the world stops. She'll deny it at first, then cry, then blame you, then confess just enough to quiet the guilt. Not because she wants to be honest, but because the lie can't breathe anymore. What breaks a man in that moment isn't the act itself. It is the realization of how long it has been happening. How many ordinary days were built on lies. How many "I love yours" were spoken while another man's name echoed in her mind. That's the cruelty of betrayal. It hides in routine. It wears the face of normalcy. And when the truth finally cracks through, it doesn't just break trust. It breaks your sense of reality, because you replay every moment, every word, trying to figure out when the story shifted. But there is no clear line. It happened slowly, quietly, while you were still showing up, still believing, still building. Here's the darker part people rarely say out loud. Sometimes she isn't even sorry when she is caught. Sometimes she feels relief, because the mask was heavy, and exposure sets her free from the weight of pretending. She'll say things like, "I didn't mean to hurt you," or "I was just lost," and she'll cry, but not for what she did to you. She's crying for the version of herself she destroyed. What follows is chaos. Emotional debris everywhere. Some women run straight into the arms of the man they cheated with, chasing the fantasy to its final crash. Others stay, broken, begging for forgiveness they can't fully earn. Some dig deeper into lies, twisting reality to avoid the shame. But no matter how it ends, one truth never changes. The woman she was before the betrayal no longer exists. She's not pure, she's not untouched, and she knows it. Even if you forgive her, she'll never see herself the same way again. Because once you cross that line, you can't unknow what you're capable of. That's why cheaters never truly rest. They can rebuild, they can pretend, but peace never fully returns. Guilt becomes a shadow that follows them quietly. And for the man left standing in the wreckage, this is where the real transformation begins. Because betrayal, as painful as it is, forces truth into the open. It strips away illusion. It shows you not only who she was, but what you ignored. You realize that love doesn't guarantee loyalty, that being good doesn't mean being safe, that trust is not protection, it's risk. And that lesson changes everything. The pain that once felt unbearable starts to shape you. It burns away the illusion that love alone can hold things together. You begin to see clearly. You see that peace and love are not the same thing. You can have love without peace, but not peace without truth. When you've been betrayed, you stop chasing understanding from the person who hurt you. You stop trying to decode the lies. You start turning inward, asking harder questions. What did I ignore? What did I accept? What did I keep giving even after it wasn't being valued? That reflection hurts, but it also heals. Because betrayal isn't just a wound, it's a mirror. And when you finally face it, you don't see her anymore. You see yourself. That's when everything changes. You stop begging to be chosen. You stop competing with ghosts. You stop explaining your worth to someone who couldn't see it. You start choosing yourself. The man who survives betrayal doesn't just walk differently. He moves differently. His eyes are clearer. His kindness becomes sharper. His boundaries become sacred. He stops mistaking tolerance for strength. He stops confusing pity for love. He learns that not every woman deserves access to his softness. Because love without discernment isn't love, it's self-destruction. And then something unexpected happens. Once he learns this lesson, once he rebuilds from that fire, he becomes more magnetic than ever. Because there's nothing more attractive than a man who doesn't need to be needed. A man who can give love, but never trade it for peace. A man who can look at beauty and see not temptation, but testing. Not salvation, but distraction. The man who's been through betrayal understands things differently. He's calm where others chase. He's patient where others panic. He knows that validation isn't love and excitement isn't connection. He's learned that peace is power, and he'll never let anyone take it again. When you've lived through the collapse of something you thought was forever, you stop fearing endings. You start trusting beginnings. You stop seeing loss as punishment and start seeing it as redirection. And one day you'll meet someone new. She'll speak softly. Her energy will feel calm, not chaotic. She'll love you without performance, without needing to prove herself. She'll value truth over thrill, and you'll feel something you haven't felt in a long time: safety. When that happens, you'll look back at the woman who betrayed you, and you won't feel anger anymore. You'll feel gratitude, because she was the storm that forced you to rebuild stronger. She showed you the difference between being wanted and being respected, between passion and peace, between attention and affection. She showed you that not every connection deserves to be called love. And maybe that's what all this was for: to strip away the illusions, to wake you up, to teach you that peace isn't found in another person, it is found in protecting your energy like your life depends on it. Because it does. So let her go. Let the past rot in its own lies. Let the pain turn into wisdom. Don't waste another minute trying to understand her chaos. Use it to understand yourself. The man who can sit alone at peace with his own thoughts no longer fears betrayal, because nothing anyone takes from him can ever touch his center again. And that's the real victory. Not revenge, not closure, not getting her back. The victory is silence, the kind that isn't empty but full, the kind that comes when you've faced everything and come out whole. So, if this spoke to you, if some part of it hit that quiet place in your chest, don't hide from it. Share it. Let other men hear it. Because every man who wakes up to the truth behind love, lust, and betrayal becomes one less casualty in the war between peace and chaos. Your peace is your power. Protect it like your life depends on it. Because it does.